In my world, rules aren't suggestions, they're survival. But I broke one. The only one that mattered. And it didn't just cost me my empire. It cost me her. Subscribe to Mafia Hidden Diary for more stories that bleed power, betrayal, and revenge. They used to call me the man without a heart. I preferred it that way. Love was noise, distraction, weakness. Vincent drilled that into me the first night I joined his crew. He said, "Control the game, Kane. Never let it control you." And for years, I did exactly that. Every deal, every shipment, every body that hit the floor, I stayed detached. That's how you survive in my world. You don't feel, you calculate. Until she walked in. The meeting room smelled of cigar smoke and fresh bourbon. We were in a private villa overlooking the southern coast, sunlight spilling through tinted glass. Elias Trent, my rival, sat across from me, sharp suit. Sharper grin, but my eyes didn't stay on him. They locked on the woman beside him, Serena Vale, Elias's sister. "Adrian Kane," Elias said, raising his glass. "Didn't think you'd show up in person." "I don't send substitutes for serious business," I replied, leaning back. "Let's talk numbers." "Of course," he said. "But first, meet my sister, Serena." She turned to me slowly, every movement deliberate. Her voice was soft, British, with that perfect blend of danger and calm. "Mr. Kane, I've heard fascinating things. None of them true, I hope," I said. She smiled faintly. "Oh, I think the truth's far more interesting. Vincent once told me the eyes reveal what words hide. Hers revealed nothing. Cold, perfect stillness, except for that one flicker, that 1 second when our gazes held too long. That was the beginning of my mistake." Elias kept talking. Something about trade routes, alliances, profits. I wasn't listening. Serena's bracelet caught the light. Silver, thin, engraved with a single word I couldn't quite read. She noticed me noticing. "Something on your mind?" I forced a smirk. "Just wondering why a woman like you would be at a table like this." "Maybe I'm the one wondering the same about you," she said. Elias laughed. "Careful, Serena. He collects hearts and breaks them for sport," I shrugged. "I stopped playing games a long time ago." "Good," she said quietly. "Because I don't play either." The meeting dragged on, but time didn't feel real. Every time I looked away, I caught her reflection in the glass wall, her gaze flicking toward me, like she wanted to say something, like she wanted to be caught. That's when my phone buzzed under the table. New message, Callum Hart. She's working with Interpol. My pulse slowed. Not sped up, slowed. That's what happens when you've been in the game too long. Your body goes quiet before the storm. I read the text twice, then looked up. Serena was already watching me. Her lips parted just slightly as if she knew what I'd just seen. I leaned forward. "Elias, I think we should cut this short." "Why?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. "I don't like long meetings. Makes people nervous," he chuckled. "And what are we now, nervous?" "Depends," I said, my tone even, "on who you've brought to my table." Serena's eyes darkened. "If you have something to say, Mr. Kane, say it." I smiled thinly. "Ladies first." For a moment, silence wrapped the room. You could hear the soft ticking of the old clock behind Elias's chair. Finally, she leaned forward, voice low. "You think I'm working against you?" "I don't think," I said. "I know when something's off." She met my stare without blinking. "Maybe you should ask yourself why that bothers you so much." It shouldn't have. But it did. When the meeting ended, I walked out first. Callum was waiting by the car, his expression tense. "You got my text?" he asked. "Yeah. You believe it?" "I believe in evidence," I said. "Not whispers," he frowned. "You're getting soft, boss." I lit a cigarette. "Maybe. Or maybe I just like to watch people hang themselves before I pull the rope." That night, I couldn't shake her voice from my head, every word. Every glance replayed like a loop I didn't want to stop. Vincent once told me, "When a woman makes you hesitate, you've already lost." Maybe he was right, because as I stared out over the coastline, watching the lights shimmer against the dark water, I found myself asking a question I hadn't asked in years. What if she's not lying? And just like that, I broke the rule, the only one that mattered. I thought I knew every kind of danger in this world, but nothing was more lethal than her. I hadn't slept in 2 days. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face. Calm, unreadable, dangerous. Vincent's voice echoed in my head like a curse. The moment you start wondering if you can trust her, you already can't. And yet I was standing at the old harbor at midnight, waiting for her. The water was black glass, the air thick with salt and secrets. My car idled behind me, headlights cutting through the fog. Then I heard her heels. Slow, deliberate, confident. "You came alone," she said. "I told you to do the same." She smiled faintly. "You didn't answer my question." "I never do." She stepped closer, the glow of the pier lights painting her skin gold. "You don't trust me?" "I don't trust anyone." "Good," she whispered. "That's what might save you." I took a drag from my cigarette. "You said you wanted to talk. So talk." Serena glanced toward the water. "Elias is planning something. He's meeting with the Rourke Syndicate in Marseille." I frowned. "Vincent's old crew?" She nodded. "They want you out, permanently. Why tell me?" "Because if he kills you," she said quietly, "he'll kill me next." Her voice cracked slightly at the end, but just enough to sound real. I watched her carefully. "You're his sister." "You've got protection," she laughed bitterly. "Protection? You think Elias protects anyone but himself? I'm just leverage. So what do you want from me?" "Freedom." The word hung in the air between us. I exhaled slowly. "And in exchange?" "I'll give you everything I know. Names, accounts, routes. But once this is over, I disappear." I stared at her, trying to read the lie. Everything about her felt dangerous. Her stillness, her certainty, the way she didn't flinch when I stepped closer. "You expect me to just believe you?" I said. "No," she replied. "I expect you to listen." She handed me a small flash drive, no label, no markings. "What's on it?" "Proof," she said. "Enough to start a war or end one." I slipped it into my pocket. "You know what happens if this is fake?" "I do," she said, eyes steady. "You'll kill me, and you're still standing here." Her lips curved. "Maybe I'm tired of running." We stood there, silence pressing harder than the wind. I wanted to walk away. I wanted to throw that drive into the sea, but instead I said, "Get in the car." Her brow arched. "Where are we going?" "To see if you're telling the truth." She hesitated, then followed. Callum was waiting at the safe house when we arrived. He looked from me to Serena, then back to me. "You've got to be kidding," he said. "You actually brought her here?" "She's got information. She's got a trap, boss," he snapped. "You're slipping." "Watch your tone," I said coldly. He glared. "No, you watch yours. You told me once, emotions get men killed. You remember saying that?" I looked away. "I remember." Serena folded her arms. "If this is how you talk to your men, no wonder they don't trust you." Callum turned sharply. "Lady, I don't trust anyone who walks in with Trent blood." She smiled faintly. "Then we agree on something." Later, when Callum left, I confronted her again. "You played that well." She tilted her head. "Played what?" "The innocent act." She stepped closer, voice low. "If I wanted to play innocent, I'd be crying by now. That made me smirk despite myself." "You think you're clever?" "No," she said. "I think I'm desperate." "There's a difference." I looked at her then, really looked. The tension in her shoulders, the quiet defiance in her eyes. For the first time, I didn't see a spy. "I saw someone who'd been caged too long." "Fine," I said finally. "You'll stay here until I verify what's on that drive." "But you don't leave this house," she nodded. "Understood." "Good." I turned to leave, but she stopped me. "Adrian," she said softly, "why did you come tonight?" "Really?" I didn't answer, because I didn't know. Back in my room, I poured a drink and stared at the flash drive. My reflection in the glass looked older, harder, and somehow unsure. Callum's words echoed in my mind. "You're slipping." "Boss?" Maybe he was right, maybe I was. But as I replayed Serena's voice in my head, one truth settled in my chest. I'd already crossed the line between reason and ruin. Meanwhile, 1,000 miles away, another voice cut through the hum of static. "This is Agent Mila Grant." "Interpol Division." The receiver crackled. "Status report?" She sighed, eyes fixed on her laptop screen where my face filled the feed. "Adrian Kane is in too deep," she said quietly. "He's protecting her now." And for the first time in years, the predator was starting to feel like prey. I knew something was wrong the moment I walked into the office. The air felt heavier. The phones were silent. Even the city outside sounded like it was holding its breath. Callum was already there, arms crossed, eyes dark. They hit the Marseille shipment, he said. I frowned. How bad? Wiped clean. Containers empty. No survivors. My stomach tightened. Who knew about the route? Me, you, and Serena, he said flatly. The name hit like a bullet. I tried to sound calm. She's been under watch. There's no way. He cut me off. Don't do that, boss. Don't defend her. I'm not defending anyone, I snapped. I'm looking for facts. Facts? He laughed bitterly. The facts are your empire's burning, and the one person you trust most vanished last night. I turned away, staring out the window. The neon lights below flickered across the glass. I want eyes on every dock, every border, I said. Find her! Vincent's voice came from behind me, slow, deep, unimpressed. You really think this is about her, Adrian? I turned. You have a better theory? He stepped closer. You broke your own rule. You mixed business with emotion. That's how empires die. Don't start, Vincent. He smirked. I warned you years ago. Love is a luxury men like us can't afford. Love? I said quietly. This isn't love. This is survival. Keep telling yourself that, he said, walking away. By midnight, I was sitting in my car across from a dimly lit restaurant on the east side of the city. I'd tracked Serena's phone here. Through the glass, I saw her, elegant as ever, calm as sin, sitting across from Elias Trent. My hands clenched the steering wheel. I slipped out of the car and moved closer, staying in the shadows by the terrace. Their voices floated through the open window. Elias leaned back, smirking. You did well, sister. The Kane network is collapsing faster than I imagined. Serena's voice was soft but trembling. He trusts me completely. He'll never see it coming. The words sliced straight through me. I froze. Every memory, every look, every touch. All of it turned to poison in a single sentence. Elias laughed. You always were the best at pretending. She looked down. Don't, she whispered. Just finish what you promised. Once he's gone, I want out. Out? Elias chuckled. No one gets out, Serena. Not even you. I stepped back slowly. Heart pounding, breath uneven. For a second, I thought she'd look toward me. She didn't. By the time I reached the car, my hands were shaking. Callum's voice buzzed through the phone. Boss, where are you? Nowhere, I said hollowly. You find her? I hesitated. Yeah, I found her. What happened? Nothing, I said. She played her part. Meaning we end this tonight. I drove back to the compound, headlights cutting through the dark. Every mile felt like a confession. Vincent was waiting by the gate, smoking under the floodlights. You look like hell, he said. I tossed him the flash drive Serena had given me weeks ago. Run it, he eyed me warily. Why now? Because I'm done pretending. He nodded and disappeared inside. The compound was too quiet. No guards. No chatter. Just the hum of the generators and the ticking of my own regret. I walked through the corridor toward my office when I heard the sound. Engines, dozens of them. Then came the sirens. Blue and red lights spilled through the windows. I ran to the balcony. The entire property was surrounded. Interpol! A voice shouted through the loudspeaker. Drop your weapon and surrender. My chest went cold, not because of the raid, but because I'd already seen this move before. It was her. The doors burst open. Men in tactical gear stormed in, shouting orders. Dragging my men to the floor, Vincent raised his hands, glaring at me. You brought this on yourself. I barely heard him. Through the chaos, I saw her. Not Serena, Mila, the undercover agent I'd met months ago. Always quiet, always watching, she stepped toward me, cuffs in hand. Mila, I said, voice low. So this is it? Her eyes softened, just a little. I told them not to come tonight. Why? Because I knew you wouldn't run. I laughed bitterly. You were right, she swallowed hard. I'm sorry, Adrian. The steel bit into my wrists as she locked the cuffs. I leaned closer. Tell me one thing. Who was it? Serena or Elias? She looked at me for a long moment. Both. As they dragged me out, I caught one last glimpse of my empire. Flames rising in the distance, cars burning. Everything I'd built turning to ash. Vincent shouted something, maybe a warning, maybe a curse. But it didn't matter anymore, because for the first time in my life, I wasn't thinking about power. I was thinking about the way Serena said he'll never see it coming, and she was right. I didn't. They shoved me into the armored van. Mila sat across from me, avoiding my eyes. I whispered, "Tell me one thing, Agent. Does love always end like this?" She hesitated. "Only when it's real." As the van pulled away, I looked out at the ruins of my empire. The streets I once ruled were crawling with blue lights and betrayal. Every secret, every deal, every sin, exposed. And through the shattered reflection of the window, I finally understood the truth. The night my empire fell wasn't when I was caught. It was the night I met her. And as the cuffs tightened, I realized the empire didn't destroy me. Love did. I lost track of time in that cell. No windows, no clocks, just the hum of bad fluorescent lights and the sound of my own breathing. Days blurred into nights until even my anger got tired. When the door finally opened, I half expected Serena. Instead, it was Vincent. He stood just beyond the bars, immaculate as ever, suit pressed, eyes cold. "Enjoying your stay?" he said. I leaned back against the wall. "You came to gloat or help?" "Neither. I came to confirm what I already knew." "And what's that?" "That you forgot who you are." I laughed quietly. "Funny. I thought I was the one who built the empire you're still profiting from." Vincent's lips curled. "You built it on arrogance. You lost it to sentiment. Consider this a lesson in weakness." "Is that what this is to you? A lesson?" He shrugged. "Everything's a lesson if you survive it." He turned to leave. "Vincent," I said softly, "tell me one thing. Who do you report to now?" He paused. "No one. The strong never do." The door slammed behind him. 3 more days passed. Or maybe 4. I couldn't tell anymore. They fed me twice a day. Same metal tray, same bitter coffee. Silence was the only constant. Then the lock clicked again. This time, it was Callum. He looked worse than I remembered. Dark circles under his eyes. A forced calm in his voice. "Boss," he said, "they're letting me see you. Said you had questions." "Questions?" I smiled faintly. "I've got plenty. You start." He sat across from me, folding his hands. "Vincent's out. He's cutting ties. Half the network scattered. The rest are waiting for orders." "And Serena?" "Gone," he said. "Vanished after the raid. Maybe Interpol took her. Maybe Elias did. No one knows." I studied his face. Calm. Practiced? Too practiced. "You sound rehearsed," I said. "Rehearsed?" He forced a laugh. "Boss, I'm just trying to keep the pieces from falling apart." "Your loyalty's touching," I said dryly. He shrugged. "Always been loyal." My eyes dropped to his wrist. A gold watch, polished, familiar. The same one Elias wore the night of the auction. The one custom made with the black dial and crimson second hand. My chest tightened. The room suddenly felt smaller. "Nice watch," I said casually. He looked down. "Yeah, gift." "From who?" He hesitated. "Old friend. Elias Trent." His eyes flicked up just for a second, and that was enough. I leaned forward, voice soft. "You sold me out." He shook his head fast. No, boss. Listen. You think I don't recognize the pattern? Shipments raided only after you handled logistics. Coded texts intercepted, and now that watch. Boss, Adrian, I didn't save it." He stood up, panic crawling into his tone. "You think I'd betray you? After everything?" I smiled slowly. "I don't think, Callum. I know." He exhaled, running a hand through his hair. "You don't understand. I didn't have a choice. Elias had leverage. Stop." My voice dropped lower. "Every traitor says the same thing. The difference is I don't kill you here." His confusion flickered. "You're what? Forgiving me?" I nodded. "Of course." He blinked. "Just like that." "Just like that," I said. "You've been loyal for years. I can overlook one mistake." He looked relieved, and that relief was the final confirmation I needed. "Get me out of here," I said. "Then we rebuild." He nodded quickly. "I can make that happen." "Good," I said, leaning back. "Because when I walk out of this place, I'll remember who stood by me." 2 days later, they released me. "Lack of evidence," the officer said. "Bullshit. Someone had pulled strings." Outside, the rain was falling. Callum waited by the car, smiling like nothing had happened. "Freedom looks good on you," he said. "Doesn't it?" I stepped into the car. He started the engine. We drove in silence, the city lights cutting through the windshield. After 10 minutes, I said, "Pull over." He frowned. "What for?" "Just do it." He parked near the harbor, the same one where I first met Serena. I turned to him. "You know, Callum, I used to think loyalty meant trust. Turns out it just means patience." He shifted uneasily. "What's that supposed to mean?" I smiled thinly. "That I waited long enough to confirm you." Before he could react, I opened the door and stepped out. "Drive safe," I said. And then I walked away. By the time he realized he'd been played, that the tracker under his seat would lead Interpol straight to Elias's compound, I was already gone. Not as a boss, not as a fugitive, as a ghost. A week later I found her, Serena. She was in a small cafe outside Prague, hair pulled back, face pale, hands trembling over a cup of untouched coffee. She looked up the moment I sat down, her eyes widened. "Adrian, relax," I said quietly. "I'm not here for revenge." Tears filled her eyes. "You should be." "Maybe." She looked away. "He forced me, Adrian. Elias said if I didn't feed him intel, he'd kill my brother. I thought I could control it. I thought I could protect you." My throat tightened. "And did you?" Her voice cracked. "No, I destroyed everything." I leaned back, staring at her. "Callum was the leak, not you." She froze. "Callum?" "Yeah, you were the pawn. He was the hand moving the pieces." She covered her face, shaking. "I didn't know. God, I didn't know." "I believe you," I said softly. She looked up, shocked. "You do?" I nodded. "But that doesn't change what's gone." She reached for my hand. "Please, stay. We can—" I pulled away. "We can't." "Adrian, don't," I said. "You did what you had to do. So will I." I stood, slipped my coat back on, and turned toward the door. She whispered, "Where will you go?" "Nowhere," I said. I already left. As I walked out into the cold night, her voice followed me like a ghost I couldn't kill. Every betrayal had a name, every name had a face, and in the end, all of them looked like people I once trusted. The world thought Adrian Kane was dead. Maybe they were right, because the man who walked out of that cafe wasn't coming back. A year. That's how long it took for the world to forget my name. Adrian Kane died in that raid. At least, that's what the papers said. The man walking through the harbor tonight was someone else entirely. "Name?" the dock guard asked. I handed over forged papers. "Nathan Cole." He glanced at me, then stamped the document. "You're clear, clear." The word felt ironic. I hadn't been clear of this world since the day Vincent Rourke handed me a gun and said, "Control or be controlled." Now Elias Trent's empire was collapsing. Shipments burned. Accounts frozen. Men vanishing. Someone was bleeding him out from the shadows, and every whisper carried the same name. The Ghost. I sat at the end of the pier, watching the sun crawl across the water. Callum was gone. Vincent had disappeared to whatever dark corner he called home. Serena. I hadn't seen her since that cafe, until tonight. Footsteps, soft, hesitant, familiar. "Adrian," she said, voice trembling. I didn't turn. "That's not my name anymore." She stepped closer. "Then what should I call you?" "Nothing," I said. "Names have weight." "I don't carry that one anymore." She stood beside me, wind tangling her hair. "I heard the rumors," she whispered. "Elias's warehouse is destroyed. His partner's turning on him. People are saying there's a ghost dismantling everything." "People talk," I said. Her eyes glistened. "It's you, isn't it?" I didn't answer. "Adrian," she pressed, "you're becoming the very thing you swore to destroy." I finally looked at her. "I'm not seeking revenge, Serena. I'm balancing the scales, by burning the world. By fixing it," I said quietly. "One piece at a time." She took a shaky breath. "You think this will bring peace?" "No," I said. "But it'll bring silence." "That's close enough," her voice cracked. "You could have come to me." You already did enough, I said. I was trying to save you. You did, I replied. Just not in the way you think. She stepped closer. Then stop this, please. Whatever's left of you, don't let it die in someone else's war. I stared at her hands trembling against the wind. For a second, the world went quiet. The waves, the cold, the ache in my chest, everything froze. Then I reached into my coat and pulled out an envelope. Take it, I said. What is it? A goodbye. She hesitated, then opened it. My handwriting covered one page. Nothing fancy. Just truth. You were the reason I broke my rule, and the reason I'll never follow another. Her lips quivered. Adrian, I told you once that I built my empire on control, I said. But control was a lie. You can't cage chaos and you can't outsmart love. Tears welled in her eyes. So this is it? This is peace, I said. She shook her head. No, this is you running. Maybe, I said softly. But sometimes running is surviving. She reached for me, but I stepped back. Don't follow me, Serena. Her voice broke. And if I do? I smiled faintly. Then you'll never find me. I turned away, footsteps crunching against the gravel. Behind me, she whispered, You can't erase what we were. I'm not trying to, I said without looking back. I'm just erasing who I became because of it. The sun was rising now, gold spilling across the horizon. The ocean glowed like fire meeting glass. Vincent's voice echoed in my head, calm, cruel, inevitable. Every king falls by his own heart. I stopped walking and let the words settle. He was right. But I smiled anyway, because for the first time since all this began, I wasn't a king, I wasn't a boss or a lover, or a ghost. I was just a man, finally free of the rule that once defined me. I watched the sunrise, the light washing over the water like a confession. One last thought passed through me before I disappeared into the world again. I had broken every rule, every oath, every tie that once chained me to power, and yet, breaking that one rule had given me something no empire ever could: peace. As the sun climbed higher, I walked toward it, unarmed, unnamed, and unafraid. For the first time in my life, I was free.